Okay, I'm at 50 Brundage, and you can see that the trees are touching the roof line over here, and they're touching the roof line over here. Right? The gutters are nice and clean. It looks like there's only one layer of roof. There's a little bit of rot on the fascia board up there, and this section of the gutter is damaged. It looks like maybe a tree limb or something hit it. Right? You've got a wood clapboard siding, mulch, landscaping, landscape lighting. Right? Seems like the majority of the screens are intact. Over here, this is the fill pipe for the oil, and that's the vent pipe for the oil. And so that vent pipe is supposed to be higher than the fill pipe. No problem. The hose bib, when I tried to turn it on, it's not running. Okay, no worries. Yeah. Over here is a riser for the septic system. All right, I lifted this up. And that's where you pull it up and you can pump and clean it. The fence over here looks like it's in pretty good shape. Here are your two AC units. I don't remember what year the house was built, but you can see that the refrigerant line is using Puron gas. It's 410A, and the serial number would indicate probably that this is manufactured in 2010. I noticed a little bit of damaged and missing insulation on the refrigerant line. That's something you're going to want to correct just so that it's more energy efficient. And this unit on the right was a little bit noisy when it was running. So, the downspouts discharge onto the roof. Might be a good idea just to extend that over to the gutter system. Right? Couple small areas where there's a little bit of rot on some of the frame, but for the most part it looks like they've been maintaining the exterior as good as they can. Over here, you could see the grading. Everything sort of pitches from the yard down, right? It would be a good idea just to add a little topsoil along here. I don't know if you want to keep that hydrangea bush. If you remove it, definitely you're going to want to build up the soil over there so that all the water pitches away from the house. Right? You've got a downspout that comes down right over here, and it looks like it discharges to daylight right over there, which is fine. Deck looks like it's in pretty good shape. They've done some painting recently. The posts over here are pretty buried. I tried digging them out and I poked and prodded at them. Doesn't look like there's much rot, but there's definitely a little bit of rot starting to form. So if you can, it'd be a good idea just to remove the dirt from covering these posts. Should be like this so that the wood post doesn't rot. I'm guessing that's why the steps look like they're leaning a little bit over on this side. Plus the footings for the steps are in dirt as well. Those could be rotting as well. So if this sagged down a little bit right over here, that could be the reason why the steps are leaning a little bit this way. And there's a couple screens over here. I noticed one of the doors back here is missing a screen. So this is probably it. You can see the screen is damaged. Right? Ideally you would have flashing where the ledger board is. Right? So this is the ledger board right there. And then that's the decking right up on top. So between the decking and the ledger board, usually there's a piece of flashing right over there to prevent the ledger board from rotting. So that's something that you may want to add at a later date when you're redoing any of the decking. It's a little bit hard to do it now because all the boards run this way, and you'd have to take up all the boards to add it. It doesn't make sense. So you've got some pavers, right? The interlocking pavers, and you can see they're uneven in a bunch of areas. That's something that you're probably going to want to correct so that nobody gets hurt. Over here, I don't know if the kids are going to use this run if you want to maybe add a railing over here. Probably wouldn't be a bad idea. You can see from this side, right, if I take the two banisters, you could see the difference in how it's off, right? And then these should be graspable, and these are too big, these are too wide, so you may want to just add a graspable handrail over here. Okay, I have the little fire pit over here. You know, generally speaking, like I said, the outside looks like it's been painted pretty recently. I don't see really much rot at all. The pavers over here are a little bit uneven. All right, you can see that. You're missing the screen. Downspout goes into the ground, discharges out over there. Right, you do have two outlets, one over here and one in the front that's ground fault circuit protected. Those are the outlets with the little reset buttons. There's one around the other side that doesn't have it. Right, again, these steps over here, they've sagged down a little bit and it doesn't have a graspable handrail. So if we look at the structure of it, you know, there's really only a tiny bit of separation there. So, you know, it's probably this footing right over here, it's in the ground and it's probably starting to rot underneath the ground, causing it to settle. Again, some more uneven pavers over here. Try to get a side view over here so you can see these are trip hazards. Right, I grabbed this walkway stone, right, that's the tread for the first step, that's loose, so that's something you might want to take care of. Right, and then we come to the driveway, and the driveway, all the water's directed to run off over here, and the drain has sort of dropped and separated over here, so you know the drainage isn't really going to work the way it's supposed to. You can see this dirt over here is where water ponds and collects, right? So they have a drain over here that runs the span of the driveway. It discharges over here and then runs along. And I'm guessing that in the beginning, it probably ran into this drain over here. This sank, and now it's running off this way. You've got some cracks in the driveway. All right, I've got pictures of all that. And then in this corner over here, you could see this is sank down quite a bit. So that drain isn't really going to grab the water. It's just going to run off. And then this section of fence over here, it's leaning a little bit. So you may want to just correct that post. The shed isn't open. It's got some moss on the roof. So that's something that you may want to clean up and correct. And and then you've got the stone walkway over here. Right, I've noted drains nestled into the landscaping in a couple areas over here. All right, you see you have a little weep hole right there, which leads to a drain. And there's a vent, right? There's a meter connection. That's the outlet that isn't ground fault circuit protected over in this corner. And you know, a lot of people prefer not to have handrails for aesthetic reasons, but you know, I would recommend maybe putting one handrail so that if you have an elderly person come, they can negotiate the steps. Right? This was a little bit of an area of a concern for me. because the mulch is up over the siding. So I poked and prodded, nothing's rotted. But you might want to lower down this mulch over here, maybe even consider removing this plant over here. Okay, thanks.
Thank you so much. I kiddingly said to the other guy, I was like, oh, she does have a good food in her fridge. So feel free to take a bath.
Yeah, I feed them at home, don't worry.
Okay, see you later.
Thank you.
What time do you guys think they'll be done?
A couple hours.
Okay, she might come back and forth just because she's that little person,
Okay.
if that's okay with you.
Okay.
You said it's okay.
Yeah, I told her. It's
Yeah.
fine.
Okay, see ya.
All right. And then this is the ladder where I started. Okay, so I was interrupted by the listing agent and the owner because they said the front door was open, but it wasn't. So they had to come back and open it up for us. Generally speaking, little bay roofs like this, you know, you may want to consider putting a gutter on it. You know, you have a couple of roof lines that meet up in the house. So, you know, that will leave you vulnerable for some leaks. So just, you got to maintain the roof, maintain the gutters. We do have some aerial photos, more spanning the whole length of the roof, and it looks like it's in pretty good shape. The crown on top of the chimney looks like it's in pretty good shape. So all that stuff looks good. Gutters right now are clean, but you can see that there's all these mature trees over here. So you're probably going to have your landscapers clean the gutters pretty semi-regularly. This retaining wall over here is just a stacked stone, right? And then the one up there is a cemented stacked stone. Right, so that one's definitely built more for longevity up over there. This one will be more, you know, the stones will fall and you'll just restack them. So, all right, so the next video will be probably the attic